Hi everyone, Rick Torres from RJ Torres Artistry. I wanted to explain to everyone how I'm doing my drilling through the center of my carvings to help regulate the moisture in a whole log. I definitely try to do half log stuff if I can, but we all know that that's just not always possible for the size of carvings that you need to do. So I've done a couple bears here recently that I actually used the technique on, so I just want to explain how that's done. So what I do is, for me personally, I use a 1-inch bit. All right, so I use a 1-inch bit, and I use several drill extensions, and I'll talk about the drill extensions. I think the bit, just get a good quality wood bit. I like 1 inch. I don't think you really need to go any bigger than that. You probably could, but it seems like a 1-inch hole allows for enough air exchange to allow the log to dry the way I want it to. So covering some drill bit extension things. They obviously just go together like this. And then of course your drill bit's gonna go in the end, it's gonna go in the drill, and you just keep adding extensions as you go. So I do have a couple different ones here. The ones that I like are a little thicker, but with a 1-inch bit, it doesn't matter. You can see that this extension here is a little thinner as far as a circle, so you could get away with a little bit of a smaller bit if you wanted to, or you already had one on hand, maybe a 5/8 or something, then this would work. However, what I like about the ones that I have, that I use, is they have 2 set screws, and you can see where this type only has 1. Probably not that big a deal, but you do have to remember that these are going to be going in your bit, and you are going to be drilling down in and pulling the bit back out quite a bit. So you want to make sure that you're going to keep a hold of this so this doesn't separate. You can imagine if you're down in your carving and this separates and pulls off, you're never going to be able to lock this out. Your only hope would be able to drill maybe all the way through if you could, but that's probably not going to be possible. So you just want to make sure you get some good quality extensions that would lock up pretty tight to your drill bit. And then make sure that you have probably at least a 1/2-inch drill, some type of quality drill. I have been using a Milwaukee whole hog. They're a little expensive. I'll be honest, I borrowed that one, so it's pretty cheap to me. But it is a very quality drill. So I think I've seen Makita it seems like they make a decent 1/2-inch drill. There's other people that make decent drills. Just make sure you get a drill that's got some oomph to it to be able to drive this thing through the wood. Because what you're going to be doing is drilling through, and you want to try to get, if you can, to the pith, to the center pith if you can, and drill that out. That's going to be the most dense part of the wood, and that's what you're trying to eliminate. So if we understand how wood dries, you got this whole log, you let it set for a while, and the outside looks pretty dry. You may even start to get some hairline checks in it, and it's starting to dry pretty good. However, the inside of this log takes quite a bit of time before it's going to match the moisture content to the outside. So that's all I'm trying to do, is get the inside moisture content closer to the outside moisture content, so it'll stabilize this log and it'll dry more evenly and create less checking. So the closer I can get to the pith, the better, because that's going to be the most dense and it's going to take the longest to dry. However, I don't think that, I'm not going to call, if the pith is up here and that's just where it ends up, you can start thinking about that when you carve your whole logs if you can. I do now, and I try to get them to the back depending on what I need else to get out of the wood. Sometimes that's not going to work out, because if you want the face here and that's where you got good wood and no knots, but the pith ends up here, it is what it is. I think if you still just get down through the center of this, you're going to be close enough that you're going to help that air circulate through the inside of the carving and help that dry out and stabilize the moisture on the inside closer to the outside. So what I do is, when I start drilling, and for me personally, when I start drilling, I start out on a ladder. I like to get above the carving. That way I can see directly for my eye down through the carving, because I'm going to drill through here and I'm going to come out on this particular bear right in the crotch area, and the same thing on the other bear next to it, right in that crotch area, so I can get all the way through it. You may have a better eye than me, but for me, I have to start on a ladder, and that's just the way I can do it. I can line it up. Once I get it lined up and I maybe get, maybe this far down in, and I know that I got a good feel for where I'm headed, then I'll lay it down, and you'll see that it's a lot easier to push and pull this drill when the carving's laid down. than it is to try to stand up and pull it out. Because what you're gonna have to do is you drill, you're gonna wanna drill down through 3 or 4 inches, and then it's a good idea to just start pulling it back out. And you're gonna see wood chips are gonna come. And then I've had a couple pieces that I felt were really dry logs, even checking them with a basic moisture meter and seeing. And when I drilled down in and pulled this bit, I say once I've got down in pretty good, I've actually had like water this far up the bit just come out onto the carve. So that shows you just how much moisture the inside holds compared to the outside. But you're going to want to drill down, you know, so far each time, pull the bit out to relieve the chips so you don't bind up your drill. Because if you were to try to just take this and just drill straight on through, I can tell you, especially if it's really wet, that wet wood is going to bind up in this bit, and you have a chance to where you might not even be able to reverse it out. Like it's going to lock up inside the log. And then if that happens, you have 2 choices. The bit then can live inside your carving forever, I guess, or you're going to have to then, you're going to make a curve cut, because you're going to have to cut your bit out of the wood and possibly even an extension depending on what comes loose or what got hung up. So you want to make sure that you just go a little bit at a time, pull it out, clear your chips, till you go all the way down through, and then eventually you'll bust through. So just take your time with that process, especially the first time you do it. And you don't want to put all the unnecessary stress on your drill, or it's not going to last very long. All right, so then once I get that done, I will allow, and you'll have a lot of moisture through here. I let these set for a couple weeks. That's what these are doing. I just let the air flow through here. Depending on the time of the year, usually a little bit of airflow is enough. You'll start to feel day to day. You can feel down here, like this one is getting, this has been sitting here almost 3 weeks now, and it's pretty dry. Like I can't pull any moisture out of here. I've also used what's called a golden rod, which they use them in safes, like to create a little heat in the safe to bring the moisture content, take the moisture content out of the safe for all your collectibles, guns, jewelry, things like that, things you don't want to rust. So I've actually used one of them to put down inside of here to speed the process up, so to speak. You probably could also use some type of blow dryer or whatever to speed that process up if you needed to. But I just let them set now a couple 2-3 weeks, and it seems to do the trick. After that, I will then take a dowel rod, such as this. You want to make sure you get a dowel rod. I ran out of 1-inch dowel rod. This is 1 1/4 inch actually, but I would want to have a 1-inch dowel rod to match the size of my bit. And then all you're going to do with that is just take and cut them into some plugs. Then take some Gorilla Glue or some other decent quality waterproof glue. Put a little glue on them, take them, pound them down in to where they're just about flush, depending on the type of carving. With a bear, I'll leave a little bit. I'm going to leave a little bit above, and then I'll go ahead and texture that off, paint it. You literally will not be able to see it. The bottom, so I stop at the bottom of the bear's crotch, and then now we have the base to deal with. A couple different things you can do with the base, depending on what it is. You could just go ahead and put a curve cut at the base to relieve the pressure on that whole part of the log. However, this isn't the drying part of that little piece there isn't going to be as big a deal as you are with the whole log here. Depending on where it's at though. If a customer has wood stove, pellet stove, and it's going inside, it's probably going to be hard on it. So then for this particular bear, I went ahead and drilled through the pith here. And all I do on that, I don't keep going. You could with your drill bit extensions, I just don't. I go ahead and lay it down, and then I'll drill through the bottom. That way it only takes just the drill bit and the drill to get through that. I'll drill through the bottom, come through the pith there. You can do the same thing, let it dry out. Sometimes I'll use a little shorter plug just on the base. Plug it up, sand it off, however you want to do it, texture, whatever your carving requires. Paint it up, and you shouldn't see it. And then I know for me personally, I recommend to anyone that buys my carving that it sets up off the floor a little bit, so that base has a little bit of air exchange if it's inside, and then also for outside, so it's not touching any of the elements, obviously the ground or anything like that. And that way that the carving can then, the wood's going to take up moisture and release moisture as the year goes, whether it's inside or it's outside. And that's going to happen through the life of the carving. So I just like the air to be able to flow in and out, so whatever humidity gets in the summer can then release itself in the winter and work itself out so the wood can stay stable. So I go ahead and do that. I cap them off once they're dry, and then that's pretty much the process for me. I've had good luck with it so far. I haven't done this a long time. I've been carving for quite a while. I had a little bit of a break there, but I started this when I was very young, and I do know I had, I've dealt with quite a few cracks and things like that, and unhappy customers we all have. For me personally, some people don't worry about it. For me personally, I'm just a person, I don't like a customer to have cracks. I always will repair them, but I always look at it like this. This is, for me, is a pretty quick process here in the shop. So if I can do this now, and then I don't have to go back, or I don't have to have a customer bring their carving back to repair it, then all the better. Then it's just one less thing I have to worry about. I don't have to deal with a customer that's maybe up in arms over a crack, and God forbid something, cracked really bad, and then number two, I don't have to repair it. So this isn't that big of a deal for me. It's been working out pretty good. I'd rather do this now than have to deal with it later. And then also, it gives me more options for when I just want to use a whole log and I don't have logs big enough that I can half and make what I want. So I've gotten a bear like this will take a pretty good sized log to cut in half and then still cut this bear. I don't have to wait around for that size log. Depending on where you live, you may not be able to get a log that big. So then this may be your only option, or some type of curve cut might be your only option if you don't want it to crack in an undesirable location. So that's what's worked for me. Please leave me comments. I'll probably put this on YouTube, so you can leave me comments there, or tons of people have messaged me on social media. That's fine. I'll try to get back to anybody and help them out. And I've also heard a couple other stories of people, and I haven't tried this yet. I've heard people actually only drilling most of the way through and then filling the hole up with like timber oil or linseed oil. That sounds like a cool idea too. I think I would definitely want it to dry out first, and then it probably would go ahead and soak up some linseed oil. I'd like to see if whoever's trying that, like how it's worked for them. That'd be an interesting thing. For me, for right now, I think I'm just gonna stick with this. I think I may test the linseed oil, but I still think I would drill all the way through and then maybe just plug the bottom and fill it up with linseed oil and see how that works. But yeah, leave me comments. Let me know how it goes if you try it. If you got any questions and you get stuck or whatever, message me and hopefully I can help you figure it out. All right, so I hope this helps. Thank you.